Hello world, I was Syncretist coming live from Web3, and to cover today's learning, I got a few areas that are going to be a hybrid of NFTs, specifically the creation of NFTs and what to look for. I'm going to cover some components and then launching on OpenSea through the manual traditional upload process, not through code and doing a generative or a collection, or I should say a collection launch via code, and using JavaScript web3.js to talk to the blockchain. That was a really interesting experience. So to kick it off, I want to talk about a conversation I had last night with Fausto. He's my co-founder, my partner, and we were discussing areas that we want to cover for our NFT. And this covers the layering, the assets, the components that we want to draw out, and the entity formation, because we have to set a base for the character, and everything that we add on to it will essentially be put in a grid in terms of position. That way, if we randomize the next asset, the positioning will be in the same spot and it'll work. That way we can swap and move around. And we started discussing how can we introduce like another form of entity to the drawing, to the character development, and keep the scope of work smaller, because if we introduce a new entity, then the assets have to be placed specifically for the new entity shape. So we went off a very long conversation. The goal was to launch something that was amazing in the terms of art. There was a lot of distinguishers. A lot of the collections right now are just like one model. But we thought, okay, what can we do to let you visibly see through the art that there's another entity, another character, while keeping in mind scope, because we're very focusing on launching as soon as possible. And that conversation was really, really great. We went into detail, existing projects, started unearthing, and we found a hybrid solution that is exactly what we're looking for. So I'm very excited to share more about that down the lines, where we start drawing and start having something visibly available. But the depths to create a product in the terms, I should say the art, is pretty intricate. And it reminds me of when we were launching Learn, when we were designing the UI, the UX, all the components that have to be addressed that yield and lead to the creation. It's stuff that doesn't look into detail. At least Fausto showed me some work that literally the layering was off, like the drawings. If it was a helmet, if it was like a space helmet, the space helmet was in the back. When it should be on top, like a helmet where it was transparent. And it's stuff that you don't catch immediately off the eye, but once you see, like, how did this go through? And you know, these are just collections just spawning out there. There isn't like quality assurance or due diligence process. People just want to push out there and get it out. And you know, these are collections that are moving. So we definitely want to be careful. Want to bring a great product to market, and our art is product. We're not doing it as something that's just gonna be scrappy and so to have something out there. We want an entity that carries and is a symbol for what we want to project, which is being an autodidact, which is being a lifelong learner, using the internet, being internet native, and being able to learn in this beautiful space, right? So that's a really, really good conversation that we had last night. And it gave us a strong leadway, and we found a solution to the artwork that we're aiming for. So then I jumped over to learn web3.js. I downloaded the library and I started running some commands. I was able to connect to Etherscan. I went into the top coins that are built on Ethereum, and through web3.js, I was able to create functions and call methods to the coins. Like I can call the name of the coin based off the address. So it was really interesting to start getting a further under the hood look. And then the beauty of this is that this can be transferred into a UI component. And let's say that we want to call let's say the market price for Ethereum at the moment. Well, we talk to the chain, we get that data, and then we just have it render in the front end. So this is how it works. It's the library of web3.js and learning the methods. One thing I definitely need to get a stronger understanding on is JavaScript syntax. How do the functions work? Where do the parameters go? How to end the statement, how to start methods, column, etc. And I mean, that's the base of programming. It's you can program and do things in certain ways, but first foundation is understanding the syntax. It's like a language, right? When you're learning a new language, you learn about words, nouns, verbs, pronouns, all that good stuff. And then you start creating sentences. You start using logic to build narratives with the base of language itself. So that's where I'm at with JavaScript. Solidity, I got a little bit more comfortable, but balancing both is quite challenging. I'm not gonna be honest. There's just so much to do, but it's exciting stuff. I'm not shying away. I'm a soldier in this, and getting both domains simultaneously is something that doesn't shy me away. Then transitioning to areas of what to look for into an NFT. I'll make a video specifically to this about my strategy viewpoint. I come in more from a venture background on calculating the risk of putting money up front and viewing the NFT as an investment, and what's the longevity of the project. There's many ways to invest in NFTs, whether it's just based off the art and the vibe with no roadmap, or there's the utilization based true roadmap. Some people do it more for community, and all those variables come into play. But some components, I saw a good video out there. Can't recall his name. I wish I could, so I could give him a shout out. I think it's his last name buys coins or something like that. He was an ex finance guy. Really good channel, and he gave an analogy of fabric called fabric on what he looks for when he purchases an NFT. And I really like 3 of them, or 4 of them, I should say, for what to look for when you're purchasing NFT. So the F in fabric stands for founder. How's the founding team? Because this is extremely important. Execution is either going to be the break or make for a collection or for a project. And if existing founders that have a track record, they've proven that they can execute and move and build. If it's a first time, then there's that higher risk, right? We don't know if it's actually been vetted, and it's just higher risk area. And especially, this is the biggest one. I absolutely am not a fan of this, but when they stay completely anonymous, where they don't even connect their Twitter, they don't connect any form of components, like they don't got any skin in the game. They could just rug pull, and they got nothing to lose, right? Because they're fully anonymous. So in our case, we're going to launch, our faces out there, our name, our company, like everything is fully transparent. We're in this for the long term. It's not going to be rug pull. Don't worry about it. We're putting our face on it, which is quite rare in this NFT space, fortunately, right? So moving next to the next letter in fabric, we got art. The art has to speak for itself. It has to be something that people are going to be proud. If you got good art, people are going to want to put it as a profile picture, which is going to be a huge component for marketing. And the art itself is going to be a symbol for the entity that you want to create. So if you have really bad art, no one's going to want to rep it. It's not going to be a good product. So there's excuse me, there's that to think about when it comes to selecting the NFT. That one's it's got a lot of feelings for subjectivity, but quality is important here. Moving to the next layer, I'm going to just pick the 4 that I like. Next is the R, the roadmap. I think this is really, really important for utilization. This is probably one of the most important for me if I were to base it off the 2 base foundations, is the founding team and the roadmap, because you have the vision, right? You have absolute exact vision. It's well articulated. Everything is documented, and now it's just a matter of execution. And you want a grade A team that's going to be able to deliver and execute on the mission. And if they keep on doing, regardless how long it takes, they keep hitting milestones and milestones and milestones, then it's going to eventually reach the point of spark and hit the flywheel effect. And this is where I come in more from a venture background, where sometimes you put money up front based off of the longevity. And NFT is so fast. People want quick floor flips. People want hype in this area. But if you're long on the possibility of betting big on a collection, then the roadmap is going to be one of the most important ones, tying it to the founders, because big roadmaps are not going to be easy to execute, and founders are the ones that deliver. And lastly, from Fabric, the last layer I'll bring up is community. Community is very important in the sense that it's the team. I view an NFT collection as an entire company in itself. And if the community is divided, then the team is weak, because the community is going to be the ones that deliver the value. They're the users themselves. They're the visionaries of the project to an extent, and they're the marketers. They're going to be, if this collection becomes a DAO, they're going to be the ones that work via labor. So there's so many variables to having a good community. These are people that are going to be workers, builders alongside the collection. So if a collection can't fabric a strong community, it's not a good sign that people believe, or bad culture, or a ton of other variables that are going to make it fall off. So then from there, I also learned about something called party bid, which is on the DeFi side, where you get fragments of a big NFT. So let's say you want ownership of a CryptoPunk, you go to party bid, and you and your friends collectively pitch in to get a big part of, or to get a part of the NFT. So let's say the NFT costs 100 ETH. You and your party can purchase up to 20 ETH of that NFT, and based off that 20%, if the price goes up, well, you got the derivatives of the price increase. So say it goes up to 200 ETH, you still have 20% of the 200, so your money essentially doubled. And then the tokenization process for this is really, really exciting. So it's more on the DeFi space. Like I mentioned before, DeFi is not my strongest forte, but it's something I want to keep in the pulse, because for the Learn DAO, which we have a vision for, is doing processes and incentives like this is going to be a really, really profound thing to execute on. And then lastly is I dropped a collection on OpenSea. This is a sideline project. I wanted to get an under the hood just through the simple UI on OpenSea, and I made something called Ethantics, which is based off the word semantics, and Ethantics is for the language, the logic, and the culture of ETH and Ethereum. So Ethantics is just quotes, a very simple concept. However, with the NFTs, you can own this piece of art, and the goal for Ethantics is that if you own that quote, then as we become more of an established collection, like, oh, you have the Ethantic quote of XYZ, that's awesome. And right, this is the subjectivity to the art, to the collection, and move forward with that. And proceeds from Ethantics goes into Learn, so it's a win-win. All right, so that was the day. Probably gonna be just browsing, rifting around. Today's early, it's 9 p.m., probably the earliest I've done a video with these, but there's still more to put the head down. I'll be taking my light, but enjoy myself as well. All right, so hope this was insightful, and I'll see you tomorrow.